Hi there. How
Good.
are you?
Doing well. How are you, Allison?
I'm good, Sarah. Let me turn my volume higher. Okay, cool.
Hey, so good to see you.
Good to see you too. How was your session this morning?
It was good. I just got off and popped over to this one, so it went really well. It was Spanish, so it was a lot of fun.
Oh, wow. Okay, so what what courses do you teach? Because I know you like have a ton that you can teach.
A lot, yeah.
Yeah.
So I do most anything that's like kindergarten to 12th grade, but the majority of what I teach would probably be like the middle school and high school math. So um, I do pre-algebra. I mean, my kids are about a third elementary, a third
Okay.
middle school, and a third high school.
Oh,
I teach the math, so like grades. Right now online is a little easier. Grades 2 through about 8 would be one subject, I would say. Like
okay.
those kids by grade I teach. Then once you're in 8th grade, your math class or ninth grade would be algebra 1. So I teach that. That would be like the majority of people I
Okay.
see around like just before algebra 1 or algebra 1.
Okay.
Geometry is next. Algebra 2 follows that, and I have algebra 2, the honors algebra 2 with pre-calculus. I've done a few of those last year, so that was a really nice class to do online too.
Wow.
Because they have calc chat already, so it was pretty straightforward moving on to online for some of
Okay.
them.
Right.
Yeah, we went like halfway through the year. It was like just a few online where I had like home hospital kids that I was doing for the Acalanes Union High School District. So Miramonte, Campo Lindo, Las Lomas, and did I say Acalanes? Acalanes,
Yeah.
Miramonte, Campo, Las Lomas. Those four high schools. Sometimes because of their scheduling, we would just be online, or because of their other needs, we would just do
Uh-huh.
this online anyway. So I'd say it was like 10% online and like 90% in person. And then March 13th happened and we went 100% online.
Right.
But yeah,
Right.
I do Spanish all levels for high school, especially for the
Mm-hmm.
kids. I'll sometimes split for the young ones, so who are elementary age. If they have a parent who's very motivated to do both Spanish and math, I either split the session for Spanish math or we just do it in Spanish. And,
Wow.
and yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
people use me for lots of things. Writing is another one that's been amazing. In the last year, middle school and high school writing has been really fun. I teach the writing, so the pieces of the skills that are like the grammar, the spelling, the
Mm-hmm.
punctuation, those pieces are really big at that age, and that goes
Right.
pretty much down from like 4th grade through high school all the way to the top of high school for grammar,
So
spelling, punctuation.
do you have like curriculum, like a 6 week course, or is it just consistent like weekly?
It's they so clients now, the new method that I have that I've come up with, because
Hmm.
I needed something for my own kids too to
Right.
supplement what was happening. So I saw what we were doing online with their teachers, and I just picked what I thought was the best of the best. So I created classrooms, Google Classrooms, because the kids are familiar with them.
Right.
And
Yep.
I saw the utility of it too. Google Classrooms are well designed for organization. So what I've been doing is I take Google Classrooms, and by subject, I drip the content, so skills, between like say 2 and 6 skills per day. I drip
Hmm.
into the Google Classroom. And where do I get that? The curriculum, it's like a textbook, right? So what I need is a textbook for every subject, K through 12.
Right. Right.
What? So I looked at what the teachers were using. I looked at what I thought was good quality for a variety of different things and reasons. And I really have been enjoying IXL. So they make it really straightforward to drip that into the Google Classroom. And it has really nice backend so that I can monitor students' progress. And that's been
Okay.
amazing. And so
Right. So you can stay on top of the lessons and the learning and that type of thing. Okay.
and I can, take a screenshot of how a student has been progressing over the week and send it to the parents by email. So it's nice. So they
Wow.
doing this by the week. So my previous students had started to add this on in the summertime.
Okay. Hmm.
They either meet with me 1-to-1, and we have those sessions, and this is an add-on to that. And then they're doing daily practice at home in addition to that one-on-one session. or they're now meeting in small groups, just starting like the past few weeks, where it's like, oh, we've done some over the summer, but they were just
Mm-hmm.
groups. But
Mm-hmm.
in the past few weeks, starting for fall, we're already getting people enrolling into the specific classes, and those are the same idea, but it's instead of 1-to-1 when we meet, it's a very small group of 5 or less. And so
Okay.
they have the option. You could just be in that group. It's a little less costly, and you get day-to-day practice, and you get a check-in
Right.
with me, where you can get your questions answered. But the one-to-one,
A visual check-in like this, like you talk to the kids. Okay.
it's
That's
exactly this,
tremendous.
but
Right.
like instead of just you and me, this would just be our one-on-one session, right?
Mm-hmm.
With the students, it would, with a small group, what's called the mastery class would be, they're all students whose goal is to master that subject, whichever one they choose, they can master that
Mm-hmm.
subject. And they meet weekly to have just that small group
Okay.
like this, in that format.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, how wonderful you had this somewhat in place when, we had to go shelter in place and in quarantine, and then you just continued your classes this way.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah,
Everybody, I was really very happy with the clients that I had. Like they were so
yeah,
flexible and able to jump online. It was very helpful.
right,
There, it was almost seamless. The biggest problem that we had was the expectations of what was happening with the school. So we didn't know, like, all of a sudden, Algebra 1, instead of moving forward in the book, started to just not. And so
right,
that was hard, and I think it was hard on the kids. And now I saw a lot of anxiety in students in springtime, and I'm hoping that we don't see that same thing repeat in the fall.
right,
And so I'm also giving that, like, because I saw that that option was needed for like continuing in a course, making sure that you had high expectations, making sure that there was like this way to advance, so that students have, I mean, I was kind of a kid like that. Maybe you probably are
yeah,
too. If
right,
someone says like, let's just sit down and do nothing all day, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm just gonna worry.
right, exactly.
So they just sat there and they worried, and it was evident in Zoom calls because they're like this, they're like touching their hair, they're like
Yes,
constantly, or the boys with the flip hair, they're constantly flipping their hair. And so I worried for them. And so once we got them back into, look, I know it's a weird organization, but there is a parallel to, like, we were working on binders. There's a parallel to technology. This is what it is, teaching them how to get organized, to know what
right.
to expect, to know when they're done. That was hard. A lot of students were like, I kind
That
of,
is great.
then once you get them organized, they felt a lot more relaxed. And when you give them really high expectations without like overwhelming them, of course, you just,
Right.
then they were like, oh, I know what I'm supposed to do today. And when I do it, I've done something that's good quality, and they felt good. So that already I started to see in springtime with them. And then now in the fall, I'm just concerned because of the schedules.
We all are, but we'll just go one day at a time. But for people who are watching this, how do they get a hold of you for classes, or is that listed somewhere? How do we
My
find you?
website is www.saraheducator.com. So SARAH educator.com. There's a contact there. They can contact me with any questions. And
Okay.
the website under tutoring for 2020 and 2021 is already up. So they can click on that, and that's where they find all the information that they need for this upcoming school year.
Okay, so great. I just put a link in our group, so that'll be great. So people can get learn more about you and get a hold of you.
I
But
can include questions. Yeah.
I want to talk to you about you had some ideas about education and teaching and that sort of thing. And then maybe the last thing we talk about is I wanted to ask you what's working in your marketing right now, or if you have any marketing questions. So that's kind of how I think the flow will go. And we don't have to stay on for an hour, so I kind of carved out an hour, but I think, whenever we're done, we're done.
Okay, that sounds good. So wait,
Okay.
tell me your first question. What was the first topic you had?
So, right. So I wanted to ask you, you had a topic that you brought to me earlier, like a couple weeks ago. And I wanted to find out more about that because that seemed really exciting. Although with like all the information you gave me and all the screenshots you gave me, I'm like, well, this is definitely better like in an in-person conversation than sending me a snapshot that I might not know what you're talking about. So let's do that. And then if you have any marketing questions, and then maybe lastly, what's been working for you in your marketing?
Okay, so I'm thinking of what was it that I was asking you the question about. I can't think of what that would have been, except for I was explaining maybe what I just explained, sort of how the
Oh.
process works for my business. I think.
Well, you were reaching out to other organizations, maybe in a teaching capacity or, the Google education and that type of thing. You wanted to reach out to more families.
Yes.
So,
I definitely want to, I guess this maybe goes into the questions too, is
okay.
I would love to have a greater reach. And right now I feel like because I've always been local, that's one of the big questions is how do I get a greater reach for
Mhm.
students? I could be serving people in Berkeley or, it's funny to say like Orinda, but it's a bit of a distance to drive. But if somebody or San Ramon or Danville or someplace that's very close to us, but wouldn't typically think, oh, let me reach out to Sarah. She's in Lafayette. That's going to be a little bit of a drive over there.
Right.
I would love to expand out to be known in those areas. And currently, it's word of mouth that usually gets people to me.
Hmm.
It's funny that if I became known for being able to like do well with students, get them the good grades and things at like Campo Spanish, then all of a sudden I get a whole bunch of students from Campo who are taking Spanish at the same level.
Right, right.
you
That's
know,
the beauty of word of mouth. Yeah.
yeah, so I've done that a couple times. And that's fantastic for different courses. But it's different when it becomes like this person doesn't live, they didn't hear it in the coffee shop, or they didn't, and especially now because the coffee shops aren't open. So um,
Right.
it's nice to think of, and even for after this is, we're back to in person, it would be great to have the larger reach to stay online to a good degree because the tools I'm seeing, especially for math, are great. And
Hmm.
the ability to deliver more at home for people is also wonderful. I know
Right.
from teaching my own kids that it's the daily, consistent quality practice that is so important. So I can't be with somebody every day. If that's not possible, it's really neat that I can provide them with little skills that they can continue with, and then I do see them as check-ins to do that. So I love this format. I really enjoy the tools that I'm finding online, and so
Online. Right, right. That's what you mentioned.
build online is really a question mark for me of how do I market in that environment and how.
Well, I mean, the greater question is how do you market in this environment where you're super local? When you connect with somebody, let's say face to face, it's so much easier for you. But there's none of that going on right now. Um, and I know that certain communities are doing a lot of marketing on its own, like the club, the Mamahood Club,
Mhm.
has been marketing um, and they've been doing Heather has been doing the toolboxes so you can get in and offer information about your services or teach in that online capacity, which I think is fabulous.
Yeah,
um, and then you know about them, right?
I know about the
Oh,
motherhood, um,
okay.
but I don't know about toolboxes is what you just said. That's interesting.
Right, right, it is. And I'm curious as to how you would help the organization, because what you would do is you would teach. And so she's doing toolboxes and social media days for sure. It's on Tuesdays and Thursdays. But then maybe the education piece could be you could just kind of do what you just did, like teach us how you would teach the kids
Oh,
and whatnot. And maybe you do teach adults,
oh yeah. It
writing
would
classes and that type of thing.
awesome to teach
Okay.
parents how to, and it's specifically moms because I find that they are my clients usually because they're the ones who
Right.
do scheduling. They're the ones
They
who,
have to find you. Yeah.
yeah, they find me, they talk with each other. but they are the ones who are often choosing which pieces are happening for their children's education for the extracurriculars. So I am always happy to talk with a group of moms and really talk about like, what do we do at home? What does it look like? Especially in these times when the organization of our houses has to be spot on for us to be able to survive sometimes.
Right,
I
right,
mean, I have
right.
twin boys, they're going into fifth and it is busy here. So we are definitely in need of those ideas. I pull things that I see online and then I use them and I think they can be so useful for more people. And I would love to help other people with their organization of their academic world at home. Um,
Mhm.
because even if we are at school and learning, there's still at home learning that's happening for sure for so many. Um,
Right,
and
right.
some moms, I see,
However long, we don't know. So let's take
yeah,
advantage of the tools and resources and maybe your way of educating and your thoughts and ideas around that. Well, I will connect you because I think it'd be a good way of doing that. It's a membership-based program.
mhm,
Um, but yeah, it would be a whole new world opened up for you there. And they're
yeah,
doing a lot of online teaching. The other, I mean, you've been to Nexus
yeah,
women's meetings, right? Okay.
yeah,
So that would be another way is to, like, we're really not pushing memberships right now because everything has been free and all of our meetings have been free.
yeah,
We've kind of, we have a couple months off for the summer, but we're coming back in August. So it's the second Friday of August.
yeah.
And we have morning meetings from 9 to 11, but those are all Zoom calls as of right now. So I would think that would be great. And, just introduce yourself and tell us what you do and all that kind of stuff. Just do the exact same thing, maybe in shorter format, of course, because when we go around
Yeah,
the room,
like
um,
2 minutes.
right, right,
More of
exactly.
an elevator speech that I have to work on. Than
Right. Well, we all do, right?
do.
But then we go into breakout rooms, which is super fun because then we could kind of go a little bit more in depth with our relationships. So that's good.
Right.
But I think finding those, and also what came to mind is La Miranda Entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
I think they've been meeting. I've missed the last few because of the Wednesdays didn't work out, but they've been meeting as well. So I think that's a viable option. I went to one recently and we did this speed networking type of thing, which is great. And some people love it, some people hate it,
Yeah,
but it was good to meet people and that sort of thing. So
those
that was
do
good.
sound great. And I think, I mean, that's kind of the model that I'm looking at is more of small groups of people. And what I've put out too is a lot of times with small businesses, we have questions about technology and how we can best use technology. And if we have a small question about how to add something to our website, I may have a small shop that I could open on my website. It seems so easy for somebody, if they know they've done it before, to share that information. I put that out on Treasure Talk on Facebook, and it
Oh,
was interesting. I got a couple of likes, both like gentlemen that I know that are they have their own small businesses, and so you go, okay, well this could be something, but just a couple of people going, okay, we want to know more about pieces of technology. It would be wonderful to share. I've created my own website. I figured out the Google Classrooms. I figured out for either moms who are working at home with their kids and just the educational platforms are so many and kind of complicated, and to see somebody else use them and be able to just answer those questions would be really nice. But also
right,
businesses would like that. Like I would love to meet with a group of entrepreneurs who are just themselves or a very small business, and they have those types of questions, and we could help each other either to find somebody who knows the answer, or within our group we know the answer because we've been working on similar topics.
right.
Everybody's on Instagram, everybody's trying YouTube, everybody's trying, why not share what we know in a pool of knowledge?
Right. And so why now? Is it because like you're motivated and inspired by the online learning piece that this sounds like a, great fit for you?
I
I'm just
guess
wondering like why now?
I was already primed for online.
Okay.
because one day I figured that, I won't be in one location, but I still would want to
Mhm.
do this similar work to what I do, maybe the same work that I do. I love writing and I love tutoring. So that's the two sides of me. And I have seen many businesses that are able to do this from anywhere. And
Mhm.
when I look at the tools that are available to me, I thought before, March 13th,
Right.
I wanted to do this. There
Okay.
never seemed to be enough time. There never seemed to be like the abilities. All of a sudden, everybody was online in March, and I went, well, Sarah, it would be a good time to figure out technology tools
Right.
and to learn how to market what you have is another piece of that. And so I thought this is the best time ever to learn. And then once I was actually doing it too with my kids for all their many platforms that we've already seen this year, and the many more that are to come, I just thought,
Yes.
oh boy, I've seen a lot now. And when I was young, I wished for tech tools that would, I have an idea for calculus and how they could show like that. I was like magnetic gloves. What could they use? It would be like a hologram that comes out. I'm seeing technology catching up to some of my dreams with math tools. So
Ooh.
see, I excel having these tools where the kids can plot by just clicking, or they can click and drag and now they've shown area. There are amazing tech tools for math, but also for other things. And the quantity of
Mhm.
skill building exercises is immense. So,
I love how you're going deep with that because I am the same way. Love the tech and productivity tools for marketing because they're out there. I mean, I feel like there's, so many that pop up every day that you need to learn and be accustomed to. And thankfully, I'm better with software than I am with hardware. Like I fail with hardware all the time. I'm like, and how do you connect this with this and what connects with that? But software is one of the things that I love because it seems like when you get one, then you get the other. And if you keep on working with it, then you'll understand how the software works. And it seems like you were too. And I love that you're diving into some of these, let's say, marketing tools, but they're really productivity or they're small business tools that'll help you, put a e-commerce widget on your website or, things like that.
or even just, I saw my cousin actually posted on Facebook. I mean, we're talking posting on Facebook is already using technology to tell people these things.
Sure.
Friends, sometimes it's business work that we're doing online. And this happened to be a cousin. She's also a teacher. And she works for the deaf and hard of hearing. And she was putting out her virtual classroom, which she wanted to be personalized. And she was able to put it up on Google Slides and make an intro page so the students can go in and see her, a little, what is it called, an avatar or a little her that
Okay. A little picture of her.
little picture of her
Yeah.
and her dog. And so her dog is such a big part of her life because it's her helping dog. That is such a big part of what she does. And so the students can see her and her dog and click to enter her classroom, which then takes them to Zoom to see her or takes them to their skills pages to
Right.
do their work for the day. I thought that was great. And things like that, where somebody says, look, I have the ability now to make this tool and it's helpful for students in some way. And then I go, oh, so the number of other teachers that she knows, including myself, we all said, could you just take a minute and like tell me how to do that?
Right. Right. Right.
That way, whether we use it or not, now we have this extra piece of information. So it was
And it
really,
helps you reach out and connect with other people, so that's great in the time of quarantine or maybe even after quarantine. It'll help you reach out to more people, and I love that. So let me ask you, Sarah, so have you thought about doing like an online course, like somebody who would maybe it's a free course or maybe it's a paid course and somebody could click in and join your course and learn about writing, and I'm talking maybe on the adult side for sure, right? Like a
yeah.
self-paced learning course type of thing.
Yes, this is one thing I always want to know more information about because I think what you're talking about is sort of it's passive income. Once you put it there, people are just using it and reusing it. And I've thought about this for especially some of the things that I repeat and repeat for young children in mathematics that I feel like they really need to know and they could learn in like a little 5-minute snippet that you show them for over and over for a few
Mhm.
days or a month or something, they would really understand it. How to do that is a little bit harder. So yes, I've thought about it. I've heard about Thinkific, and
Yes.
I've investigated Thinkific, and learning to put up a course on there, I just am not sure what I would put or how to do it. And that would be something that's just like I'm talking about exactly that. If we had a small group of people who are small business
Mhm.
entrepreneurs, they're learning from each other, I would be asking that question. And I have of some people, you probably know Holly Jean Jackson.
Mhm.
She
I've
is,
heard of her. I haven't met her. I know she did a series of webinars for the chamber, right?
yeah, and she was somehow affiliated too with the library because I think hers were happening there. And once I wasn't able to attend when it was at the library because I had my kids to, be having like taking care
Yeah.
of them at night. But once it went online, I was able to join them. And she's wonderful. She really is. I don't know if you also know maybe Marie Forleo, but I sort of
Yes.
consider her like my local Marie Forleo. She
Oh,
helps.
I bet she loves that.
I, that's what I would say about her. She's amazing. She helps people live a balanced life and a balanced business life. Like, so put the two together. So I don't know if I'm describing her well. Hopefully she can one day come on and sort of say her own description of
Right.
it. But I would say good things about the work that she's doing and that she was encouraging some looking at Thinkific. She has her own
Mhm.
courses on there.
Mhm.
And I would like to do to put together courses, have this product that people
Interesting.
could have, but the how to is discouraging in a way for me. I'm
And
like, how do I?
I bet there's so many people who want to do exactly that, to put their courses online. And that's kind of why I asked it. I almost knew that it would be a yes, just because of, your teaching skills. And they're great on video. And I know you know how to do it because you've been doing it for quite a long time. And you have all these classes. And I think the harder part would be, not only adults, because I've seen adult classes for the online programs and things like that, of course, because I've joined a bunch of them, but for the kids, you're able to keep the kids engaged with your conversation. So I think that would be the hard part, but I know that a lot of people want to. I have a program on Thinkific. It's Instagram Your Brand, and I have since put it as a freebie on my website. So that's there. But yeah, but you just put the PDFs and the videos together, so we could do that together. I don't mind sharing some knowledge there.
Yeah.
But there's tons of online programs to do. So you could do like Thinkific, or there's Teachable. Everybody talks about Kajabi. There's a ton of tools out there. Yeah, I know, kind of a strange name, but
I don't
those
know
are
that
tools.
one, but the Teachable I'd heard
Mhm.
of and investigated on the, in parallel with Thinkific. It seems like people choose one or the other. Um,
Right. Yep, they're similar.
I just want to make sure that when I do probably is more the if is not really there. It's probably when I do put out a course, I would like it to be good quality. And when I see like, I'm sure yours is, I know Holly's is, like I see what people are producing and I think of myself, I'm like, could I do that same thing? Am I able with the knowledge that I currently have? And so far I felt like I couldn't put out something that was like
Mm,
my best quality work where I have a, the visuals are really important when you're putting out something online.
right.
And especially as you said, like to engage the students somehow, I wanted to make sure that I'm able to do that. And then my other question when I hit this road is, do I take the path of making this for the parent who then is going to teach it to the child, or do I make it for the child and the parent purchases this and then has the child looking at this? So that would change, my audience would change the way that I create the work. I'm going to make it
Right.
engaging if it's a student at a student's level, but I'm going to make it more like direction step by step, so it's clear if it's a parent that I'm having say, this is where you might do this in your day.
Right.
You include it. How are you going to include it in an everyday? So those have been the questions for me. Which path do I take? And so it's like almost like having too many choices. And like, oh, I could.
I almost think that your course should have a little of both involved, kind of a hybrid. It part of the way, do a short video for the parents. Here's what we're going to be teaching. Here's how to teach it. And then, another short snippet of talking to the kids so that there's kind of the best of both worlds.
As
That's
an example, that's like, why do I not think of these things? This is why we meet and we.
Oh, it's so like that. Like I've been doing marketing forever, it seems. And then somebody will come up and say, hey, why don't you do it this way? I'm like, oh, I knew about that, but I just didn't think of it because
Because they
it's
give you
it's
like
you.
modules too, right? So when I went in there, I tried to create a class, but just as an example, and it was like I just put in placeholders essentially. So it has
Hmm.
like these modules, if I remember right, and it could just
Yeah,
be here's the information to the parent, here's what it would look like for teaching the
absolutely.
child. So that
I
makes sense.
think you would be so perfect because you're great on video. You could teach that stuff and you're a writer. So you could just write all your content. It's like the best of both worlds, really.
I only have time all the time. It's like I have to market for this fall, actually teach the children who come to me and put together the courses. That's been a big part of it too. And have my own children who I'm now also teaching at home. These
Right.
timings, I mean, it is there's so much we ask of the entrepreneur, I think, but or anybody. I mean, we're not
So
alone
true.
in this, but we're very lucky to do the work we do. But the time is really most often when people say you haven't done this thing yet, it's like, oh yeah, I can name 15 reasons other than just like my dishwasher not working that like so
Perfect.
many things. But
Perfect.
it's especially hard now, but I think
Yeah.
it's the best time to reach out to people and ask for help too. That's why I was so happy to see your group on Facebook because it's so needed, just to have a place where we come together and we say, but marketing, what? This isn't what
Right.
I went to school for. I don't know. This is not something that I was educated to do, but I just am picking it up as I go. I'm doing.
Well, that's such great feedback because, I wanted to start a group to help people and especially in, right now during the quarantine. And how do I do it the best of my ability that could use online tech that's really easy to put together. And I wanted it to be kind of like a women helping women. But, people told me, well, don't be like so broad out there. Like, don't try to help everyone, just try to help some, a
Yeah,
niche. So I felt like online marketing for women is more of a niche. So that's kind of where I started. I might want to open up to, everyone, because that really is more my dream. But it started as a group to help the Nexus women with the Canva course that I taught.
yeah.
So that was kind of a lead in to the organization. So I just decided to put it out there. But I love the fact that I do want to help more people. And, and there's certain things that, if you have a question that pops into your head, well, is this even possible? It would
Right.
be, I would love to, help in that space.
Right. And
So
my thought for this year is there's so much of this feeling of like it's hard. There's so much. There's that. So as I just said, I was like, but I have so much to do. How am I going to do this thinkific? But what's really been great is just instead my motto, I keep saying this in my newsletters and things I send out, is we're not just going to survive this year, we're going to thrive this year.
right,
Because for me, that's how I'm happy. I am the happiest when I thrive. And so I, instead of just being like, I can make it through this, that's hard. Mentally, that is a hard place for me at least to be.
right,
I want to be in a place of like, when I get to the other side or during this process, I know I am doing great work. I know I'm being productive. I know I'm having fun with it. The whole way, the whole path, is really enjoyable. So I want to make people like kind of come to that side, which I feel like for technology, especially in education, it is like come to the dark side and move online is like it used to be a bad word, the online learning was like, oh, it's best. And I've
Wow.
been an in-classroom teacher. I've been in administration. I've done a lot of this work. So I know that in-person has definite benefits. And I
Absolutely.
have absolutely been one of those people like, oh yes, this. And I would say, the retaining of the things that you can have in your mind. People always talk about how it's really important that you write it down and that you can still do these things
Right.
online and you can add amazing tools to it. So I think the same is true for online marketing. Like you have the regular, and so I don't think it's so bad that you open up, not just have a niche or something that you're saying. Like it's okay that we have a greater reach. You can. The technology allows us to do more now, and then there is this thing about, so how do we balance it? That's a little bit of mine too. Is how do we balance it with local business? Am I a local business or am I not a local business once I'm online?
Right.
Because I really feel like all of my clients are local so far. I
Right.
mean, they hear about me, we still go online.
Because it started with in-person classes, right? It started
Right.
in-person classes, but yeah, but somebody, way in Florida or, across the country or even overseas, once you put it online, can take advantage of your classes. So I think that's in it.
Everything from scheduling to payment to actually taking classes for me has been online for a long time. So,
Mm-hmm.
because as parents asked for those things, I just included it. One
Mm-hmm.
time a parent came in, she's like, could you just, this was years ago, of course, she's like, could you have some kind of online method for payment rather than like cash or check, which was like the old
Yes.
days, right? Could you do that? I'm like, I don't know,
Yes.
let me see. So Venmo happened, and then
Right.
could
And
you,
it's very
could you
prevalent.
schedule? Yeah. And the scheduling happened. So that came online and it's been
Do you,
helpful. All the online training.
totally helpful. Absolutely helpful. Do you know Andrea Firth?
No.
And so she teaches writing classes with her partner Janine and Diablo Writers Workshop.
Yeah. Is it the writing group? It's nearby, right? The Berkeley Writers Group or no? It's a,
Well, they're in Moraga, but they have, they started out in-person classes and they've moved online. I think, were
yeah.
they in-person classes? I'm
I
pretty sure in the books in Orinda bookstore.
too. Yeah. Like a
Okay.
lot of the high school kids do use this group. I just forget the name right now. um,
Ah, okay, okay.
I
But
think,
they are Dabbler Writers Workshop, and they have these online classes for adults only.
yeah.
But they're doing a lot of all their work right now on Zoom, and they have these Friday free writes and things like that. So I just love how they're taking advantage of Zoom as well and
Yeah.
working on that. Okay, now let's get to the part where you kind of tell me what's been working for you in marketing. And I know you said, I mean, I know you're on social media just because that's how we connected and through the chamber, of course. But then you talked about your newsletter, right? So you send out a newsletter. Okay. And how often do you send out your newsletter?
My newsletter has been really infrequent because I don't want to overwhelm parents. Most
Okay.
clients are moms and they're very busy. So, as needed has been what it is.
Okay.
Starting this year, as needed is about to turn into once a week. So,
Okay.
when it was, I need to remind them, I would say it was about every month or 2 months that I was putting out my newsletter
Okay.
before. So pretty infrequent. It has about, I would say, like 200 people that it reaches who are clients or previous clients. And then it just has become, like I said, like if it's more needed, then I'm putting it out more often. And right now I feel like it's important that people continue to see that I'm here and that I can help and that this is the new way I can help too as things are
Mm-hmm.
going forward because the schedules are changing as of
Right.
each week we're hearing something new. And so I want to stay current and say, this is what I have available. It might fit this need for you.
Okay.
So that's for the newsletters. In terms of what has been working, definitely the Lafayette Chamber of Commerce, amazing staff, just so helpful. Probably know Holly, you probably know
Yes.
Jay and just a great group of people who are always willing to help and point people in the right direction, connect people with each other.
You're
Uh,
so right.
and that's, I mean, this is why that am I local? Am I not local? The question comes up because they fit so much of this idea of how wonderful it is to be local. You know these people well. You see them at the grocery store when you go out. You see them with other businesses. You'll see them passing by on the street when you're walking your kids to school. That's the kind of relationships I like to build a lot. But there's also this wonderful thing about being able to be online and
Right. I
so
totally second that, because that's how we met. Barbara connected us, and she wouldn't have known us had we not went out for a membership for the chamber, and we wouldn't be having this conversation. So they're a great connector, and I know she's since retired. But yay, Barbara! But yes, all those guys out there are wonderful.
and they're
So
able to connect so many. They can connect with different chambers or different people within different chambers. They've been in the area a long time, so they know who is the correct contact person. So you're not wasting somebody's time talking to them. You're actually talking right to the person that would be able to address your need, or you could help them. So those are really nice things. So the chamber has been amazing. And then Instagram, I really enjoy because it's quick. You've done so much on Instagram. Canva is amazing. Instagram is great. I just connected. I think it's going to get even better over time, and like the ways that I can use it and that I learn things about it. Because as I learn, like, oh, you should tag somebody, or oh, that person. So
right.
I'm learning how to build my reach, and especially to my area of interest. So I just had the chance. I met some other colleague person online who does middle school and does a type of something kind of like out school, like you're doing, not regular, not the standard curriculum, but something that does address the standard curriculum for middle schoolers about how to build their businesses, how to talk about being entrepreneurs, and learning math and learning reading and writing through that program. He created a program, and it's an online curriculum, and somebody can purchase it. And I was like, that is cool. Like a whole district can purchase this, or a teacher can purchase it. So I was able to meet with him on Zoom, just like we're doing now. And we just chatted over what our work was like. And he's in Canada and I'm here. And it doesn't really matter. It's like, oh, I thought, I could connect you with people at Oakland Unified who might be interested in this program for their this special area of their schooling. And he's like, oh, that'd be great. And then he's like, oh, I have some students here who might be interested in your courses. And so that is,
there you go.
So those are nice meetings. I think we're going to see more and more of that happening.
Right. I hope so.
Yeah. And I think what's the most important, when I do really think to myself about like that local thing, I think local is important. We should always have that piece of us so that we do have those interactions happening in our day-to-day life with people we know and we enjoy. But I think of it also as like these little, kind of like a spider web going out across the entire world, but via the internet, where we meet the quality of person in the area that we are in. So I love education. I just want to constantly be doing school. And so I like it to be really high quality, but not being like oppressive. So I like to have it where I can find someone who also I think does really great quality work. And sometimes it doesn't even have to be so linked to school, but might be linked to children and their happiness, or methods that work. I'll give a tiny example. It's kind of a topic, but it's if I'm so into Rocky Kanaka right now. Do you know this person on?
No.
Okay, it's that he's very into rescue dogs, and so I'll give the example because he has a really wide reach and he lives in Los Angeles with his wife, is now growing family. He just had a baby this weekend. We're watching this man's life and following him. If I say to my son, this sounds funny, but it's like the carrot at the end of the stick. Could you please do 2 of your skills today? We'll do it 2 skills. And then if he doesn't want to do something, right, for his skill building, I'll say do 2 of these and we can watch a Rocky Kanaka video. They're always about 10 minutes, maybe 5 minutes. He'll do a couple skills. It kind of gets them going. But
it's not the bribe, right? It's the reward at the end.
It's the reward.
Right.
We're parents. We all know we do what we can sometimes.
We all know.
By any means necessary. Like if he's going to master these fractions. We got to get through them somehow. So it's not an everyday thing, but it has been really rewarding. Mo Willems would be another person. There's so many of these people that we're finding online who have great quality work. I mean, watching Mo Willems there's just a little piece of Mr. Rogers in him. I find
Love it. Love
so
it. Well, I'll have to give you a little secret. Like, where were you when I was homeschooling? Where were you when I was homeschooling? I mean, it seemed like a different life ago. Yes, I like homeschooled for
oh, more power to
7 years.
hard.
Yeah, yeah,
I,
until our oldest was, it
I don't
was
consider myself a homeschooler. I'm not homeschooling right now. I'm just doing distance learning.
curriculum,
And
distance learning. Right, right, right.
that's
But more power to you. But where were you when I needed you? But well, I'm happy that we got to connect. Like, I see a bunch of things happening. So maybe we can talk about online courses and that sort of thing. Or, it opens up like maybe more interviews like this. Also, I'm thinking of, and I had this idea, like, of course, everybody has the same idea, to teach like this. But I had forgotten about maybe teaching classes on marketing skills like this. So I don't know, that was like pushed back further into my brain, like,
oh
you
yeah,
know,
yeah.
to do those or not. So that's kind of an
I
exciting idea.
love the idea very, very much of helping other moms to start businesses or find that work-life balance as well. Like I
Mhm.
said, I'm a huge fan of Marie Forleo. So when
Yes.
I would like to have those conversations more often. I think it was really hard for me when I first was like, I need to start this business and figure out how to do this. And there wasn't really any choice. It was just like, you need to do this. And I thought because going back to teaching wasn't going to pay my rent. So I had to find another way. It's honest. And I wish we had these conversations more of like this kind of
Right.
honest openness of but I have degrees and I wanted to use them and I wanted to find out how I could use them. And I had to do it a lot on my own, just watching Marie Forleo videos. How weird is that? So there are so many people around us. I didn't know, even in the beginning, I didn't even know the Lafayette Chamber existed or what it did.
Oh,
I had no idea. I wasn't
so it was like this steep learning curve for you.
huge.
Yeah, that's
Huge.
crazy.
If
And
you look at me like 7 years ago versus now,
okay, about 7 years ago, that's when you started
I would say so. I've been tutoring forever. I don't know like
tutoring.
when I started tutoring because I've tutored like pretty much my whole life. My mom was a teacher, and so I just helped along the way, and I was always in the classroom either with her or
I see.
helping my.
And that just brought up, so I've been seeing, some people on Nextdoor and they'll post like, hey, does anybody do tutoring or whatever? I should have thought of you in the beginning, but I didn't answer it or anything, but I know that my oldest daughter has done, actually, both my older kids, they're in college now, but they've done tutoring.
Yeah.
And so just the other day I asked her, and she's doing research right now over the summer. She's going to Berkeley.
Nice.
And so I asked her, like, hey, have you thought again about tutoring? And
Yeah.
she's like, well, not right now because she's doing her research projects and things like that. But there you go. I mean, you could be the exact person she would need to turn to had she wanted to start something a little bit bigger than what she's already done.
And
So,
it would be nice. I know the typical tutor around here tutors maybe 5 to 10 sessions in their week, and
hmm,
I try to aim for 30. So it's a different world. And that's why I market and learn so much about marketing and also life balance because
right.
having your own kids, you're working on that. And I would say
Yes.
it's a good average between 20 and 25. But my aim has always been like, let me get to the 30 and see if I can just be like really cozy, and that would be nice. And now I'm hoping for that this upcoming year because of the new modeling. Like learning to scale up is something that I think
Hmm.
would be really helpful for people coming into this. I think also knowing about how to make passive income because you will get exhausted otherwise. I think
Right.
I've
Right.
always been, super ambitious with my productivity. um,
I couldn't tell, Sarah. I couldn't tell.
yeah. And so you have to maintain, but I've also been a person, I was like 4.0 and all this. I could be like super worked up and anxious and overwhelmed, but you along the way have to learn how not to let that into you and to just
Yes.
be happy as you go along, as you move forward. And so I did that same thing in my business, knowing that there and what I went through to develop this business and remain sane. I think I would love to share
There's that balance.
with people who want to do this, because
Hmm.
you really, it is more than just saying, and I've known a couple people where I'd chat at the coffee shop and they say, oh, my son or daughter, or I know my friend does this, or my spouse wants to do this or something. Then my reaction is always like, okay, but know that whatever, if you have one student, it's usually twice as much, or 1 hour that you're with a student is most often twice what you are in, these
The
sessions.
time. Hmm.
Time, the marketing, the follow-ups, the emails, the
For
putting,
sure, at
learning
least.
how to put something online. But what would be great, like you're talking about, it would make that process so much easier for them, then it wouldn't take them twice as long, hopefully. And especially with the tools that are
Right.
available, as soon as I had a scheduling tool, that helped a lot.
Hmm.
It lessened the number of emails. It lessened any
Right.
kind
The
of,
communication back and forth and
yeah,
that type
and
of
the
thing.
automatic reminders for your session are
Right.
key when you have your clients or moms. It's really nice for them to get a 1 hour before the session reminder by email that they have a session today. They go, oh no.
Right. Right. Exactly.
Golly, I
That
forgot.
is perfect.
And those
Yeah.
things were so helpful. So I wouldn't have like, oh, there was nobody showing up or something. This was the 7 years, and then somebody said, oh, I would love it. I saw this online thing. And the great thing is I'm in a community full of fantastic women who would come and say, do you know about Venmo? Do you know about that? They were in tech. So many of my clients are in tech or some field where they
Right.
use that technology
And we
to
can help each other with
to a
that.
high degree. Yeah,
Yeah.
they helped me a lot, and it was
Well,
really
I
nice.
think we should try to find people who want to learn more about online courses and things like that. I think that would be really helpful. I've over the, little bit over the maybe the past year, a couple people have said that, but it really wasn't, I really wasn't in that mindset. I was trying to create my own, but now that I have now, well, and I marketed it for a little bit, but then I got tired and I kind of left it.
Yeah.
So there you have it. And then
Now
now
I
I
want
have
to
this.
pick your brain. Like I'm like, you made a course. It's in Thinkific, right? You just said, and
It
it's
is.
available.
Hmm.
Okay.
It
Yeah.
is. Yeah, it's on my website. I'll send it to you, the freebie tab, and you could join that, and you could do like a Canva course as well. So there's a couple of freebies there. But that's
Mhm.
what I want to do. I want to create more content so I can help more people because there's only, so many clients that I could help right now. But if I can empower you to do it on your own time or to have a course and things like that, then you could reach more people, maybe not only local, but maybe, like you said, different parts of the country or beyond. So,
The
yeah.
people who need us, and that sounds amazing. I'd really love to hear more about that. Very truthfully, it's been something that I really wanted to do, and so knowing that you have that knowledge, I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Let's talk. Let's talk more.
Yeah, and I
Um,
think a lot of times we say that we know so much, but even things like pricing, how do I set my prices? If you think about that, and when people sit down to set their prices, this, especially for women, has been a big issue for me. When I first decided to just do, so this was like the 7 year mark, I would say, where
mhm.
I decided I am going to exclusively tutor. At that time, I was consulting for Oakland Unified for special projects for them, for gifted and talented education, and then
Okay.
for their student records. I decided it was a little bit much for me to be going back and forth with my own kids when they needed me to be going into Oakland and back. And I wanted to be a bigger part of this community. And it was so wonderful when the parents were giving me things like, a nice, it was my birthday and they give me like a hydrangea or something. Those are amazing things. But how do you know how to price yourself was an example. So when I was doing that work, one thing I did, because I had the option of going into tutoring or staying on there for a second project, I just doubled my rate. I asked them as a consultant, could I just make X number of dollars instead of one half X number of dollars?
Okay.
Because I could go the other direction.
Right.
I had a list of reasons why, and this I hear from women a lot too. We don't ask for what we're worth, I think, as much, and we need to talk with each other about that. I really think
Right.
it's like an empowering issue for us. And this is an example where I said, I had a list ready to speak with my boss who is going to say yes or no of
Right.
why
Right. The value that you give.
yeah, what is the value that I'm providing? And there was not even a question. It just was, okay.
They offered you
Right.
double
Yeah,
because of you just
because I
asking.
asked. Yeah. And I hear this over and over. It's because I had the opportunity to ask. I had another thing that I could do, which was tutoring full time. After that position was over, they no longer had the money, I think. And
Okay.
so they were like not able, there was a lot of turmoil. There always is like a in and out kind of phasing of Oakland Unified. So they had their own financial issues and weren't able to provide that service anymore. So they didn't have the contracts available. But I also was at a place where I wasn't going to say yes anymore because I was so enjoying my work over here.
Right.
It was meeting all the needs. I was so happy to be part of this community and doing that. And I was able to serve a group of people that I was really happy to do. The whole thing worked out fine,
Right.
but it taught me that lesson. And I just think it's sad that that's only in my mind. That story is just here. And that
Mm-hmm.
story is not in every woman's mind to say, if I'm able to have if maybe I could set up my life in a way where I have a choice um, to ask and be okay with the fact that they said, oh, we just don't like you anymore then, and we're going to fire
Right.
you. I don't,
Right.
what would
I
be
mean,
the
that's great because it's almost like you're taking a little bit of a risk because you had a fallback, right? You're going to teach your own classes anyway, which you did anyway.
yeah,
But I love that because you're actually also teaching a little bit of risk, which, no risk, no reward, right? Like there's plenty of things that I've done that have failed, but I keep trying to move forward. Like I'm not the world's best at it, but you keep moving forward. So let's say even if this other person said, no, we don't have the budget for it, or, we can't pay you that much. Hey, at least you asked, right?
yes. And I
Yeah.
think like some people will call it risk. That's really good you said that. Some people will call it risk and some will call it like asking for more. So risking or asking. And I feel like we're less apt to do that. And I don't think I'd heard that for many, many years.
Mm-hmm.
Empower the women, let's ask for more, let's risk more. But I didn't know specifically what did that mean. And so hearing the stories of other women and what they were willing to do to risk, what they were willing to do to ask, that is really
Right.
helpful to me and why I was watching like Marie Forleo repeatedly. I'm glad she had a lot of videos. But wouldn't it be nice if I had met
We
um,
had some real stories from like local real stories.
local real
Interesting.
stories, Holly Jean Jackson, Allison,
Mhm.
Holly Sen. I mean,
Yeah.
how all these people who I've now met
Right.
over time, and this is really would be great to be part of.
I would
Such
love to have more conversations with this and see if we can get more involved so that we could do the same thing, learn from other people and their stories about, what they're passionate about and how they, got online or how they started teaching or, how they started marketing and what their risks were that they took and how they overcame them and, those types of things. I love that.
You
Oh,
made
and
me
tech.
brave, but yeah, and tech, yeah,
Yeah.
you made me brave by putting me live on Facebook. I was like, oh my goodness. I just jumped right in. You're like live
You
on.
did.
I
You
said, okay, I'll go live on Facebook. It's nice. I fully agree that sometimes we just have to go in with both feet and just
Right.
say, I'm going to do
Well,
this.
online with the whole video thing is kind of new to me. Like in June, just this past month, I did a series of videos and I did that I guess often enough that, you know, I don't like it for sure. Like I hate all the pictures and the videos and stuff, but I feel like it's a place of authenticity. And, you know, people understand you. They know how you teach. They know how you do things. They know your voice and that
Yeah.
sort of thing. So I feel like people get to know you, of
Yeah.
course, through video. And same with you. Like if you did lives, if you did maybe a Q&A or answered some questions or talk about a student, but obviously not name them,
Yeah.
you know, going from the transformation that your kids go through for the learning process or what have you. I think that would be really interesting for your audience.
Absolutely. I mean,
So
I
yes,
think
I think
that
you should do that too.
our time is almost up. I
I
can see.
know.
One of the things that goes right off of that is that, yes, we have been thinking, some other colleagues and I, and possibly putting together, and we're looking for counselors who would like to join us in like a panel discussion. And then how do we do this? We don't really know. So we've asked the chamber, the Lafayette Chamber of Commerce, like, could they help us maybe to put together a webinar so that we are the panelists on the webinar. There are questions that a facilitator asks, and then we have our chance to respond to what our experiences have been in the educational realm, and for children, and how this is looking for them. Because there are so many discussions that need to be had as we go through this unique school year, and it would be wonderful to share what we know in that capacity.
Oh,
So
can they help?
the
What do they say?
oh yeah, I'm trying to put together the group. I haven't heard back from some of my emails, that some of the emails that I sent, so I just need to like continue to follow up and figure
Okay.
out how can I make this happen. But I think they're willing to put together these like to help us to put together a webinar, but over time it would be great. I'm always one of those people that wants it in my own hands. If I can figure out how to put together a webinar, I may as well just put together more so that
Right.
have a reach and make it consistent, so that you know, we're, like you said,
Yeah.
it's making people comfortable with who you are, knowing more about you, how you can help them, how they can help themselves with a lot of these things. Sometimes I just watch videos and I don't interact with that person, I don't buy their product, but it's very helpful to me. Just
But it's
have
that education, that how to, right?
um,
So yeah, and I know you're passionate about that.
yeah.
So that is, so that's
Little
amazing. Yeah,
bit.
just a little bit. Well, that's exciting. I want to know more about that webinar, that event, because I mean, obviously I have one in middle school and then one in high school now, and then two in college. So, so that education piece would be really interesting as you know everything unfolds in the next couple of weeks. But I'd love to learn more about that. But yeah, but that's, you know, we have an hour right here, but we like talked about a lot of different things. I have to go back and rewatch what we talked about. There's so many things, but
Yeah.
I love the online courses. I love the, you know,
Yeah.
community based knowledge and the sharing of ideas and you know, for women, like the risk type of thing and reward and
Yeah.
just going out there and doing it. I think those stories
That's amazing.
are
Thank you so much for like being here and answering, like, just here in our
hey, I put it out there and you're here. So I'm excited
amazing.
about that.
I just have always loved our chats, and this is really helpful to me at this time when it's, you know, people really need this. So I'm just so glad that you make your services available, and
Cool.
you have so much to offer. It's really nice to be able to talk with you. Thank you.
Well, reach out if you need anything, if you have any questions, okay?
All right.
All
Thank
right,
you.
Sarah, talk to you soon. All right, bye.
Bye.